Hello and welcome to the regular Tuesday edition of Spurs Diehards TTID, Tottenham Till I Die. We now enter the dreaded international break, which makes conversations and subjects to discuss a bit harder, unless we get a PR blunder from our wonderful club that can't seem to find a way to consistently win. But we'll talk about the Fulham game. We'll talk about the international break. We'll talk about what needs to be done, Angie's future, and we'll see where that takes us. And we'll take questions from viewers. There's 16 of you viewing us at the moment, which is good for a Tuesday night this time. And before we start, I'll introduce you to our guests. We've got two regular friends of the show here. We've got Charlie Spurs N17, who's in Holland. He's an hour in front of us. How are you, Charlie?
Doing very well, thank you. Yeah, went to the AZ game. That was my last game, which wasn't a good. Yeah, it wasn't a good game. Still really enjoyed the first away day, but doing very well indeed.
And James, how are you? Friend of the show?
I'm all right. Thanks for having me on. Can't complain. Okay. Well, I can't complain a lot about Spurs, but not about anything else.
We'll talk about this, right? Now, when you see the team, Charlie, what did you think?
I was not very impressed with Andrew. I thought we should have played more of the same players, especially because every time we do rotate the squad, it seems like we're out of depth, and it basically seems like we're just not playing our football. Well, what is our football? But still, I mean, in the end, I think we should have not made as many changes. We should have kept the back line the same. We should have kept the middle the same, because, to be honest, we played like we haven't played together for years. It didn't seem like we, in the first half, especially second half, we played much better. But the first half, it seemed like we had no clue what we were doing, and it seemed like nobody actually knew who was playing.
James, madness, isn't it? I mean, when we've seen it at international level in friendlies, we've seen it when other clubs with squads have gone to play away in Europe. They all make so many changes. It really comes good for them, and there's always a drop-off.
Yeah, and our baseline isn't very high at the moment, so you can't really have any drop-off. We're not Man City where we've got world-class talent everywhere on the bench. And I mean, look at that team. I mean, you've got so many players underperforming, and it just doesn't work. I mean, I was happy to see Gray start as a 6. But where's the creativity in that midfield? There's just zero creativity. You can't look at that midfield and go, yeah, we're going to be able to create enough chances. And then throwing in Ben Davies as a centre-back is an odd choice. And, yeah, I mean, I don't think Brennan Johnson's really going to do much other than score tap-ins. But so a weird lineup. Weird.
Charlie as well. I mean, we all want to see Gray in midfield. But in fairness, he's been brilliant. He's made nearly 40 appearances for us. But then, as much as I like Bentancur, I mean, he was brilliant when we played Brentford away and the next game after that. But he's dropped off recently. So now you're putting Grant in midfield with Bentancur has dropped off. And Basuma has had very little game time, and he hasn't impressed at all this season, has he?
No, but I'm happy we are playing Gray in the middle, but Gray really does need that strong midfield that actually wants to do something. You know what I mean? Who actually has a drive, who actually plays well, who actually connects the team. Because without that, Gray's not really going to grow as much as he should be. Like you see, he's been playing at the back of the whole season with a strong player like Mickey van der Ven or Romero, or he played way stronger than actually playing with a Davis or with a thing. So you see with Gray that he really needs that stronger player next to him. And I think with Bentancur and Basuma, it's not really working out now. I think we should really get like this strong leader, like a Busquets was, or like a Xavi, like a real player that actually takes the initiative just to get the ball, teaches the young players how to do it, and then once he, let's say he retires, we get like an older player, and then Gray is completely ready for our midfield. I think we should do that.
I mean, looking at this season, James, Gray would be better with either Bergvall with him, a fit Decky, or a Madison, 2 of those, wouldn't he? Rather than Basuma, let's be fair. And even Bentancur's, he's come back quite. I think he's done all right since he come, but he's just dropped off a bit late recently.
He's not the same player he was.
Okay.
right? Like that's obvious. Bench warmer. Bissouma is just. I don't think he's ever good enough. I think part of the issue is none of those players are truly sixes. They're all kind of box-to-box players. Gray's the closest. And I think Bergvall is one of the only players who I think is non-negotiable, has to start as many games as he can. I think he's probably our best midfielder. Maddison, on his day, can be our best midfielder, but it's not his day every day. And then, maybe Kulusevski, play him in the middle. I think he's very good there. But then obviously you don't play him on the right, which means, the attacking line's a bit weaker. Maybe a Bergvall, Gray, Maddison, or Kulu midfield is our best midfield. I mean, I don't have any real confidence in Bissouma, if I'm being honest, because even if he's having a good game, he will have a brain fart. Maybe that's because he can't play that role particularly well. Maybe he needs to be higher up the pitch, but I'm just really not that convinced by him. And I think he's going to be out the door in the summer anyway.
I mean, Charlie, when Maddison and Kulusevski are in the same midfield, whether you've got Gray or Bergvall there with them, Maddison then tends to play more central and drift left like he does because he always links with Udogie and Son well. That's when Son plays well, when it's over there, when he's getting the ball to run onto rather than receiving the ball, he's back to it. And then Decky tends to play more as the battering ram, further forward than Maddison when he plays, So, and that to me, I think that works a bit better. But there are combinations. See, the whole blend of the midfield three this season, the midfield's been pants, hasn't it, really?
We really needed to get a midfielder in the transfer window, in the January transfer window. I really think I thought we should have really gotten a good six, like a very solid six, because Bissouma has been good for 10 games, and that was last season, pre-Luton, the red card. He played 10 games. He had 10 great games, some mistakes in the games, but he actually played well, and after that we haven't seen anything. Same with Bentancur. Pre-Aston Villa injury, he was out of this world, and this is going back again last season. Oh, sorry, 2 seasons back. This was like the 22-20, the first season with under Conte when he was injured then. Before that, he played out of this world. Then he was injured for like 6 months. And since then, we haven't really seen him be the best player he really is and can be. So I think all of our players are just those two players are really underperforming at the moment.
Well, if you're talking about bringing, I don't like numbers 6, 8, and 10. I'm an old school. I prefer holding midfield, central midfielders, attacking midfielders. That's my era. But we had been linked with Johnny Cardoso. I mean, we can buy him for 25 million euros, 21 mil. He did have he's young, American international. He's really come to the fore lately. He's getting good rave reports, and other clubs are looking at him. We can buy him for 21 mil. So no brainer. You could buy him from 21 mil the way he's playing and probably sell him for 30. That's the way it is. Daniel Levy's eyes will light up at that prospect, no doubt. But we've also been linked with Fratesi at Milan. He's not getting game time even though he plays for Italy. Are you familiar with those players, Charlie?
No, not really. No. I haven't really been looking into transfer windows the last couple of months. Not really. Since after the I looked. What's the name of that Arsenal player with the Arsenal tattoo?
Is that? It's not Henko.
That midfielder from Sporting.
Oh, is that? Hang on. Give you a list of some of the players we've listed to, right? Okay. These are just some from Sporting. Marodion's he's a 6'4", 20-year-old striker.
I'm going to look up. We were linked to this guy for like 2 seconds. Let's see.
It's not Paz, is it? The last three on the list are all left footers. So Aitner, who's a left footer at Wolves. David Anko.
Sesko's good.
Oh, I've got him. Hulman.
Cool. Oh, yeah, I've heard of him. That
lad. Yeah. So he had the Arsenal tattoo, but he seemed to be very good. But he was very expensive, though.
Benjamin Sesko, he's Slovenian, I think, and he plays for Leipzig. Really good on Football Manager, so maybe we could sign him. Help my Football Manager save. He's quite young, looks a decent player, but I never really trust any striker that comes through the Red Bull system because typically their teams always make their attacking players look better than they actually are. Timo Werner, prime example of that. Scored 25 goals somehow in the Bundesliga, and doesn't.
Well, I'll stay with you, James. We're sort of go back to. We'll go off on any tangents we need to, but I mean, this was the subs bench, pretty strong, isn't it?
Yeah, strong bench. Saar,
Not to look like we've got a squad. They've just got to perform.
I think we should loan out Scarlett because that game last season, there was a game last season where Scarlett had a great 20 minutes and he actually showed what he could do. I don't remember the exact game, but he really is has some quality, and we're just not playing him enough. So I really want to see Scarlett go to a lower, like a bottom half Premier League side or a Championship side. I know we're in the bottom half right now, but next season just go to like a, I don't know, like a Luton, or a team that's going up like a Leeds or something.
Well, I think he's 20. He's been called up for the under-19s because he always scores when he plays for England. He didn't get any game time at Ipswich when they got promoted with McKenna, the coach. But I watched the player when he was 17. I like him. I don't know if he's going to have a future at Spurs, but he's a good player. He scored the 5th goal. Remember Kane's last game against Shakhtar Donetsk when we won 5-1?
Yeah, he scored the 5th
goal on a spin on the turn. He also scored against Elfsborg. The header.
All the youngsters did.
Cross, right? He scored then. I mean, he's definitely. I watched him play for the under 21s that 3 years ago. It might have been the under 18s then because he was 17. And when you got 22 players on the field, he just stood out amongst everyone. I forget who we were playing. He just stood out completely. I thought, this kid looks good, right? But you don't know if they're going to kick on, right? But no, he's going to have a football career and he will score goals. He might end up like a Troy Parrott, though, but you don't know, right, with him. So, no, I like the player, but,
Yeah, I got a signature the other day. I got a signature. And Archie Gray's, at the England versus Holland U21. So, quite a good game. We drew.
All right.
I went, but even with Liam Delap and all that stuff. So, I was with the aunt, and we basically got behind, and with like Joe Bellingham and all that stuff. So, we basically, with all the players and the managers, it was pretty cool.
Without being linked with Joe Bellingham, rumours Sunderland want 20 mil for him. He's 20 though. It's still a lot of money for a 20-year-old. You don't know what they're going to turn out like.
We spent 40 million on Gray, so I mean, like,
but we knew a lot about Gray. I mean, there was a lot of noise about Gray for a long time. He comes from a thoroughbred family of Frank Gray and Eddie Gray. I remember watching those players play. Frank from Forest, Eddie Gray for Leeds. I mean, I watched them play. Good players. Eddie Gray was very, very skillful. Yeah,
his younger brother's coming up too now.
Yeah, well, as you know, his brothers at Spurs, we may find he ends up with us, but they've got no shortage of quality academy players at all levels now. The young team, the 18s, I think, are in a cup final. The 17s are in a cup final this year again. But the under 21s, not that great. I watched them play. They won 4-0 Friday. I watched them play because Mikey Moore scored the first goal. And Jaden Williams then got a hat-trick against Blackburn, I think it was. But half the under-20 team from last year that swept all beside them and won 2 competitions, they're all loaned out. So the team's been weakened considerably. Yeah, but there are some cracking-looking kids there. Because they broke the pay structure, we're getting these kids in there, Dean Rashnick. That's all. It's all thanks to Paratici, though. It's all thanks to Paratici.
Yeah. When does his like ban from footballing activities end or whatever it is?
I think beginning of July.
Yeah, can you come back, please? I like Paratici. I think
Scotland's useless. A question. Well, I think there's a large proportion of the fan base would take him back tomorrow, but Spurs, where they want to project this sanitized image of the club, you get some sneers bringing a crook back into the club or someone or dodgy, half a daily back into the club, but I think he's still going to play a role. The rumor is an Italian club's going to take him. I don't know. I mean, like, he was Juventus. He shouldn't be short of money all them years. He was at Juventus. He should be a made man. So up to him if he fancies carrying on doing consultancy work or whether Levy takes him back because he was director of football. Really, he was in charge. If that meant bring him in and get rid of Johan Langer, who knows? So,
Lang is awful. Aston Villa didn't think he was good enough, but he's good enough for us, is he? Yeah, mate, totally. Makes sense. I mean, it's that whole higher level of the club not being run particularly well, I don't think. Paratici actually seemed like someone who was competent. And I think you've got to view it like this. Who wanted what managers? Paratici, Conte. Day one, he wanted Conte. Good manager, top manager. Failed at Spurs, but manager. Who did...
You froze.
Coming back now.
Oh, you're back now. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I think like the issue at the club comes from the top, and the people in charge of the football. But you know,
right. Okay. Let's move on.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Now Alexa's jumping in while I'm talking. Right. So let's talk about the game management. We sort of alluded to this already, haven't we, Charlie? Too much rotation with 7 changes to the starting lineup. I mean, Ange made this mistake against Fulham away in the cup when we drew and lost on penalties, didn't we? You know, so.
He did. It seemed like he's not learning from his mistakes, which is very annoying. Because he's like the manager that says, "Oh, I learned from my mistakes. Oh, this is the way to play." And then every time we keep making the same mistakes, and he doesn't change anything about them. We keep getting caught on the same places with counter attacks, with goals against us, and then with changes as well, and making late substitutions. All these things he's doing, not really. I'm starting to lean to Ange out. I reckon I'm Ange out right now. If we win Europa League, maybe still in. But right now, I think what he's doing is he's just I don't know what he's doing. He's a bit of a loony right now.
I mean, I'd have sacked him in December.
James, in fairness to him, though, when people say, I think some fans are suffering from what I call perception deception, because we haven't seen our back four parked on the halfway line like we did in that game against Chelsea and other games when balls were hit over the top. We haven't conceded many goals with balls put up. A lot of our defending, which has been atrocious this year, is when we've had more than enough bodies in the penalty area or given away sloppy, easy passes away when easy passes could be made, and they've led to goals. So.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the goals it seems like we can see in just chances is us dicking around with the ball at the back. Like, I understand you want to build out from the back, but we are so bloody vulnerable there because, especially, I don't think we have a holding midfielder who's good enough on the ball and resistant to people trying to tackle him to play that position. I mean, you need a Rodri type player for that. And what do we have? Bissouma? Yes, mate, of course. I mean, I get Archie Gray may end up being that player, but he's certainly not there yet. So, you know, and sometimes it does seem like we try and do the same thing over and over in games when maybe you just need small adaptations. It's not to say Ange doesn't ever change things, because he does from time to time, but I feel like it's not enough, and sometimes they're not the right sort of adaptations, whereas maybe a more tactically astute manager would handle it better.
Charlie, playing out from the back is at its best when you see the third goal we scored against Alkmaar at home, because the ball was passed back to Vicario in goal to start off with from outside our penalty area. Then it gets shifted out to the left, down the wing, all the way down, and then like there was an interchange between Maddison and Son. I think it goes out to Spence, who crosses the ball, and then I think it was Solanke's death flick for his second assist, and Odegaard bangs it in the net. I mean, that's what playing out the back. That's what you want. That's what they say they practice. We want to see more of it.
So if Ange ball works, it is beautiful football. But if it doesn't work, it's horrible football. That was a moment of Ange ball actually working. But that goal was beautiful. I knew it was coming from the first ball. Like how perfect everything went, and how much space everyone got, and how basically everyone was just carrying the ball. It just had sort of aura to it. I loved it. But if Ange ball works, if that would be the way we play every week, I'm 100% Ange in. I'd be watching the games. I'd be enjoying it way. I'm watching every game. What I'm talking about, I'd be enjoying it way more. I'd literally just be watching it. It'd be like cinema. But how we're watching it now is basically us losing the ball in the midfield, and then basically one Porro or Romero not being at the right place at the right time. There'll be a striker just basically running through our defense like it's nothing and just scoring a goal. So if it works, it's the best thing ever to watch. If it doesn't work, it's the worst thing to watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, James. I mean, the whole point in modern day football, why it looks so robotic, horseshoe football as well, the way that most teams play as well, don't want to give the ball away, don't want to take risks. Well, you should take risks in the final third. But basically, if anyone doesn't, and I think most fans know anyway, it's all about overloads, but it's not about overloads right down the far wing in your opponent's corners. It's about overloads all over the pitch. So to play it from the back, you have overloads. That's how you play it out. You play out, right? if you can't play out, then you should hoof it, in my opinion, like, which we don't do enough on. And I get the fact that if goalkeepers just kick it, you're now playing percentage football. You're either going to end up with the ball, the opposition's going to get it. Whereas if you're playing out, you're only going to give it away with a stray pass, or someone makes a crunching tackle, and you don't beat them pressing you, So I get all that. On that, we'll talk about the players' performances during the game. Vicario, are you frozen, James? I think he's frozen again. Charlie, you're not frozen, are you? What did you think of Vicario's performance against Fulham?
Well, to be honest, I didn't watch the whole game, seeing as I was at an exam course place thing. So I basically was doing math from 8 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock in the evening. So I watched 25 minutes. So I only saw us really attack. So I don't really know how he played. I reckon he had a crap game because we lost 2-0, but I didn't see a lot. So I don't have a lot to say about Vicario this game.
James, I mean, people said, I've read reports that other reports saying he wasn't at fault with over goals, but one of them, he was really one-sided on his goal mouth, wasn't he? And he still nearly got a hand to the ball. So I watched the highlights over and over again. I thought, it was one of them. I think he could have done a bit better personally. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh here.
Yeah, maybe. But there's a part of me that kind of goes with stuff like that. That in reality, he's not made an exceptionally egregious error, has he? Yeah, maybe he can do better. Maybe he can't. Small errors like that happen. It's just, I think when it happens with goalkeepers, everyone knows this because it's typically a goal. But I think he's fine. He's generally fine. He's better from corners now since his injury. So, there's not really much to say on Vicario. It's 10 other suspects.
Right.
I was so annoyed with the game. I saw the 2-0 loss because in the last 10 minutes, I didn't even watch the highlights. I was done with it. I'm not going to waste any more time with this thing. But so what was the mistake? I didn't see it.
No, it was just his dive. He seemed to be very close to his left-hand goal post. It was like in that third of the goal, and like 2/3 of the goal were out. But I don't know if he was. He must have been positioning himself. But he left a lot of space on, to his right for someone to have a shot. But maybe I'm being a bit harsh. I don't know what you guys think in the chat, and I will say hello to the chat now, actually. Right, so we've got Jacob, United Spurs of America. Big up, Jacob. He's in our WhatsApp chat shouts as well as in the WhatsApp channels. Then we've got Graham. Big up, Graham, another regular friend of the show. Then we've got Blaine Devlin, who's starting his own channel shortly, but he's very busy, so he'll get it up and running in his own time, and we'll help him out, obviously. Graham saying hello to Blaine. Jacob's here again. Jacob, you've been along things. Jacob, if you want to go on, come on. I'll put the link in the chat. In a minute, let's go on the banners because I don't mind having 4 on if you want to come on. Links there, Jacob, if you want to come on. I know you've had me on your show before, so I'm only responding in kind. Right, where was I on the comments?
Lots of thumbs up.
He's been on fire for auto. Sammy Moradin. Yeah, but he's 20 years old, Daniel. He's 6'4", and we're always every time a player has one good season or starting and no one's heard of him before, why aren't we buying him? Yeah, we'd have about 1 million players if that was the case.
And also, you don't know how they're going to develop. Timo Werner, when he was 21, had an amazing season.
You're not alone in your thinking, Daniel.
I think I said the same thing last week.
Yeah, Daniel. Yeah, you're not alone in your thinking, mate. Paul G's in our WhatsApp group as well. Big up, Paul. Daniel again saying hello. Daniel, mate. Okay, let's go back to the banners. These two. Pick one, James, of what you see of them. You can talk about the game and what you thought of them this season as well. So, in case you miss bits, pick one.
Spence, I'd say. He's come through and been superb. He's probably one of him and Bergvall and maybe Gray are probably my players of the season. I don't know what his attitude must have been under Conte and before he played, but it's kind of a blessing in disguise. We had this massive injury crisis, and then Jed Spence is our best fullback. Like, I don't understand what this guy was doing in training to never get a chance. But
well, the thing with Conte was Conte didn't want him, so it was basically a club signing, and Conte was completely against signing Spence, or he just didn't want it. So he basically just refused to play Spence and just loaned him off. That's the reason he just didn't get any game time. So I think he was treated very unfairly by Conte. That's why he didn't really get any game time, I think.
Well, I wonder if he went to Forest. He's been at Leeds, France, Italy as well, I think. And
he went to Lens or Rennes, something like that. Rennes, I think. No, he went to that club Lens, I think. I don't know exactly.
It doesn't matter. He went to France,
yeah.
And I think, and he went. And the Italian club, Genoa, could have bought him for $8.5 million, and now we've got a player as a 50, 60 million pound player looking like,
Yeah, mental, really. I mean, I do wonder if how he was treated by Conte put him off the club a little bit for a while, and maybe it negatively attitude. I think.
But he is a Spurs fan, James. I know you're frozen. There is a Spurs fan, and that's probably why when he was offered a contract, I thought he wouldn't sign it, but obviously he likes the club and he signed it, didn't he? So he's going nowhere. Spence, Charlie, while James is frozen.
Oh, you mean your doggy? We just talked about Spence.
All right, we'll talk about your doggy thing. Go on.
I don't care. But yeah, it was Rennes, Daniel. Yeah, it was Rennes. Doggy, I think he's been injured a lot of the season, but he has not been the same doggy as we've seen last season. Like the actual passionate doggy going for the ball, basically putting his body on the line every 10 seconds. Well, not every 10 seconds, you know what I mean, just over-exaggerate. He's not playing that liquid football or that football he did play last year, you know what I mean? Because last year he was literally, every game we'd say, wow, Conte made a great signing here. This player is the best left back in the league, or this player, I thought Doggy was one of the best left backs in the league at the time. This season, I think he's been very underwhelming, hasn't really shown a lot. And it feels like that injury really has put him off.
Yeah, he didn't have a proper pre-season because of the injury. He's come back, and I think he's played because we didn't have no one else to play instead of him.
Yeah,
and he's the last couple of games he's been steady, but he hasn't got back to his rampaging best, if you know what I mean. When he's really bombing down there and muscling at players, and when he used to stick his foot in and win that ball back, you think he ain't going to win that, and he'd win it, right? And some of the times when he's won balls on the left, he sort of broke up a bit of opponent's play, and it's led to us scoring. So, yeah.
That would go wrong at times. Like when we played Chelsea at home, then it would. He was so good. And one more thing about Vicario, his parents are bloody nice. Like, seriously, I've met them twice now at the Bricklayers, once. And I've had a massive chat with them, just talking about life, and they're just actually really sound people. Just a random fact about Vicario there.
James, are you with us? We'll wait for you, don't we?
I think so.
Oh, you think so? Oh, right, I can hear you.
The
anyway,
thing's frozen, but your screen's frozen.
Yeah, on Spence. All right, we'll give you one of these two now then.
Romero or Davis? What? Davis hasn't played a lot this season, has he?
No.
He's not.
Is your mic working, James?
Yeah, I think so.
It's working.
My resolution from 1080 to 720. Ben Davies is a weird one because I never remember him having a terrible game ever. And also, I get to watch more Ben Davies, so lucky me.
I know you've got a bit of the Welsh connection, but putting the sentiment aside, I mean, he's out of contract in the summer. Are you giving him an extension or letting him go?
Depends how much money he wants, really. Because, I mean...
Well, he might want to go. You never know. He might want to leave anyway.
I mean, he'll definitely stay in the UK.
He's well qualified to get top jobs in other fields as well as sports.
Yeah, I think the thing with Ben Davies is, from all I've read, apparently he's a really good influence in the dressing room. He's very footballing intelligent, and he wants to go on and be a coach. I mean, I think if you say to him, look, you're probably not going to play much, but we'll give you like a reduced contract, and you can do your coaching badges and all that jazz, because I think he's starting to do them. Then, yeah, there's no harm in that. There's no harm having a guy around who can play 5-6 games a season, who's good for the atmosphere of the dressing room. Just depends how much money he wants, really, because I don't know who else you could get to be a sixth choice. But the other thing is we do have a lot of young centre backs, so if he goes, that gives them more of a route into the team, perhaps.
Yeah.
I think we
with
should
Davis,
keep
we've
with
got
this.
8 centre backs if you include Vaskovic, Dorrington, and Phillips.
Oh yeah, Vuskovic is coming. He is that kid. Have you seen
He's
his bicycle
brilliant.
kick goal? He's
7 goals in 20 games or something
Yeah.
for a centre back. He's not the quickest, right? But he's another
his
young
heading
lad.
ability.
Yeah.
We need that. We've got no one that really can do a good header in the team now. And if he comes and just lights up basically makes us a threat in corners, that would just be amazing. Because right now our corners don't really do anything for us. And if we've got a Vuskovic who just every corner that comes in seems to be dangerous if he heads it, we need that. We
We
really
paid,
do.
I think, 16 mil for him as a 16-year-old, and he comes from Hajduk Split, and then he went to the Polish league. He smashed it there. He's gone to the Belgian league. He's absolutely smashed it there. I mean, he's got. I'm as enthusiastic as you are about him. What I've seen, he's got to walk straight into that squad next year because he couldn't this year because he wasn't 18 until February and you had to announce your squads in January. You know, for the second half of the season, so he couldn't come in for Europe or anything like that. So. You see the bicycle kick he scored, did you, Charlie?
Yeah. It was again. I don't know what club it was again. It was
I can't
half a
remember
bicycle. It wasn't like what's it called? Like a special Maradona or a Messi bicycle kick, or just a plain old, basically half volley type of stuff. But it was a good goal, especially for a 17-year-old at the time.
Yeah.
And same with Bergvall. But how old's Bergvall now?
19.
19. I think it's 19.
Yeah.
I think he just passed 19, didn't he?
Yeah, because I
Because
thought
we actually he was 18 because you can't sign them up. Even though you've signed them, they can't join us until they're 18.
Yeah, because the stupid EU.
That might be
We've gone
employment law because I know with the young players when they're 16, like Mikey Moore, you can sign a 3-year contract, but because you're 16, it can be a 2-year contract as a scholarship, and the last year is a professional contract. I think that's to stop the exploitation of players. But there's also a pitfall there because it means when people are in that year, clubs like Spurs can go and nick other players from other clubs and they can come and nick ours. Right? And there'll be a lot want to nick ours because we've got a good crop of youngsters. But yeah, so I'm open with the Mikey Moore situation, slightly on a tangent here, that once he's done his first year, because he was 17 in August, once he's done his first year, then Spurs up the contract again. When he does the next year, they up it again. Because Chelsea offered 10 million for Mikey Moore and Spurs turned it down. That was before he signed his contract. Yeah. Right, a little bit off track, but it's all good fun, right? So, yeah, we're on Romero then, James. Your take on his performances this season in this game?
I thought he was all right, actually, against Fulham. Didn't think he was that poor from what I saw, at least. He's just one of those people who... if he stubs his toe on a Friday, he can't play Sunday for Spurs. But if he had a broken leg, he'd still try and get on the pitch for Argentina, wouldn't he? And I don't blame anybody for playing for their country above playing for a club. Completely get that. I'd probably be the same unless I was playing for Tottenham. But it is a bit ridiculous, perhaps, sometimes with him, isn't it? And I just kind of think, well...
It has been a case, though. I mean, he has picked up injuries at the wrong time. And this is why we've got this story going around about well, it's more of a sneering story because he's not available. And let's be fair, him and VDV, I mean, one of them's played 9 games this season and the other one 14 or something, which is ridiculous, or something like that. And, I mean, he's such a good player, though. I mean, I know he's Marmite, so half the fan base would disagree with me on this. I think he's our best defender by far. I know VDV is more liked by the fan base because he's sexy, because he's fast. But to me, that's the only area that he actually beats Romero in. And we've missed his progression up the field. We've missed that badly. And I don't know why he was taken off. Maybe Ange thinks, just another hour. And, of course, once everything goes wrong at Fulham after the hour, you know what the debate's going to be about, don't you? So... you can't win in that situation. But I still think Ange picked the wrong team for this. I will critique him on this. He got it wrong.
I mean, It's weird as well because Romero's going to play for Argentina, and I think they play Brazil, right? So like he's going to get a lot of international minutes. His legs are going to stay relatively fresh. Whereas VDV doesn't play for the Netherlands, I don't think. They typically play like De Ligt and Van Dijk. So...
Well, the last couple of games he's been playing a lot on at left back a lot.
Okay.
So sorry for interrupting you there.
No, that's all right.
No.
Just on that, though, Charlie, has he got the lungs to play left back? Because when he did it for Spurs a couple of times, he said he knows he does his sprints, but he's not sprinting for 90 minutes. It's every now and again or when there's a threat. Whereas when you're on the left back or right back, you've got to put a shift in up and down that field, you know. So, and I wondered if he had the stamina to do it for Holland, even on the left.
I'll be honest, I'm England like through and through. I never watch Holland, but when he usually comes in around the 60th minute or he starts.
Right.
And if he starts, he'll play at centre back. But if he comes in at the 60th minute, 50th minute, which usually every game, he goes to left back instead of, I don't even know who it is, like the left back they play like Ake or something. I don't know who's playing there now, but he always gets subbed in.
Always gets
he actually puts in a good performance. Everyone wants him to play. When I speak to my mates at school, they all say he's got to start.
Back to Romero, James.
Yeah, I mean, he's good. I mean, the one thing we miss when we don't have Romero is he's one of our only defenders who can play long passes accurately. He's really good in terms of his distribution. And sometimes he is a bit rash and he sticks a foot in when he shouldn't. But I would probably rather have a centre-back who is willing to stick themselves on the line rather than someone who's a bit scared of a challenge. And I think Van de Ven, just because of his hamstrings, I think maybe he's a little in his own head about getting injured again.
I think the club are preparing for life without Romero if he doesn't accept the new contract they want to give him, because in summer he'll be down to 2 years in his contract. So to me, I agree with that. You look, I love the player. I know a lot of fans don't like him. That's fair enough. It's all subjective with players, isn't it? But to me, if you don't sign it, sell him. Use the money to bring someone else in. We wouldn't necessarily even have to bring another centre-back in because we got Danso in. You got Vaskovic coming in. You know, so we possibly could use money. And also there aren't that many clubs out there that can afford it to buy them. I mean, the European market is still in deflation. They're still recovering from COVID and everything else. You've only got Real Madrid, really, and PSG.
And maybe Bayern.
Well, yeah, I mean, Bayern could possibly if they wanted, right? But
give us Kane back, you can have Romero.
And they're all those clubs were linked with Jonathan Tah as well because he's on a free contract. He's on a free, and like captain of Germany. I mean, like if you want to bridge the gap for a while, if you haven't got no funds, you get Tah in, don't you? You know.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, the Germans don't like Tah. When it was the Euros, all the Germans just didn't want Tah to play. So it's funny how all the clubs want him.
He's at Leverkusen, and he with Tapsoba and Hincapi, because they play three at the back or two at the back now. I'm not sure.
Three at the back, I think.
I'd like Hincapi. I would like him.
Why don't they like him?
Well, I don't know what it is, but the season before he wasn't that good, and I went to the Euros in Germany, and speaking to people about the teams, they were just like, "Get him out." One in the four liked him, and the rest just didn't like him. But I think it's because he isn't really like the German way of football. The German way, pretty attacking, pretty holding midfield, and Tah just doesn't really fit it. I think that was the main reason.
Interesting.
Right, stay with you, Charlie. Pick one of these. This season in the game.
Yeah, I'll go for Gray. Love him. Love Gray.
Are you family related to Gray? Because you've got connections with Gray, haven't you?
Yeah, my mum's. Well, it's a bit like my mum's best friend. It's his aunt. So basically every U21 or every England game that he comes to Holland or that every away day, I just get tickets via her, which is pretty good actually. And that's why I got into the back and met him and Arch and Dane Scarlett and Liam Delap after those games just because of the aunt, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I think he's been playing a great season, especially because he was only 18 when it started, and we just basically threw him into the deep end. And he's swum out. He's basically learnt to swim without a life vest on, which I'm very happy with.
Yeah,
because
go on, Karen.
No, you go. I'm just saying because everyone really expected, because when I went on a lot of other like shows and talk shows before, everyone expected him to have a really bad first season and not to survive. And he basically proved 90% of the fan base wrong, because who would expect an 18-year-old kid to basically have a steady performances week in, week out, and be able to play in the midfield and in the defence.
No, he's been absolutely brilliant, hasn't he? I mean, he looks another 60, 70 million pound player. And when you consider the only two sticky patches he had, one was in pre-season and one of the games against Bayern when he got a bit bullied. And actually, against Delap for Ipswich, give him a bit of a hard time before I think the centre-back switched a bit. But apart from that, but then I'm not going to slate him for that, because like he's done well at right back, left back, and there. And he's only had one game in midfield, and like you can't judge him at that. At Leeds, he had over 30 games at right back as well, out of necessity, and he played in midfield and bossed the midfield against Chelsea in a cup game.
So, I don't want Gray to be made our right back. I want him to play in midfield, because I reckon if we play him for another season at right back, everyone will see him as our right back. But he isn't the right back. He's great on the ball. He's a very daring player. He wants to strike. He strives forward. He always tries to make that sneaky pass, or does that nice flick, or does a skill. He's a real midfield-minded player, and he's not really a right back. So I want him to play more in the midfield.
Well, I see Spence as the right back. Everybody said he has looked better at left back. That's because he's played at left back more times than he's played on the right. But when he played on the right, Spence against Arsenal in the cup, he bossed it down that flank. You know what I mean? So we know he can do it, but we've yet to see it at Spurs. Yeah. So Zuma or Bentancur? I'll take the last one, right?
By the way, Adrian, I've got to go in around 25 minutes because I've got a test tomorrow.
Right, okay. James?
The joys. We can talk about Basuma. He's a walking what's the word? What's the phrase I'm thinking? I can't think of it. Okay, great. No, Basuma.
And then you froze.
Brilliant. No, Basuma, it's just, I don't think he's being played in the role that's forward.
Your internet's going a bit again. We only need your sound. Oh, sorry about these technical difficulties, all your viewers and listeners. I'm sure we'll get them back. Right, looks like Charlie's gone for a cup of tea or a drink or something, and we've lost James for a second. Well, my take on Basuma is like, I just want him gone. I mean, I support every manager at the club throughout our history since I've been going, and I support every player at the club while they're there. That doesn't mean to say I've liked every manager I haven't, or every player that's obviously I haven't either. You know, so but. I'll support the players and wish them well when they go, but Basuma can't do it. If you're in midfield, you've got all them players in midfield have got to have something about them. They've got to be able to carry it, and just in case one or two of them are not on point, or maybe we're being overrun, and Basuma's not digging us out of no holes. He can beat the press when he's on form. It's just not consistent enough to take us forward. So to me, we should sell him in the summer. James, are you back with us?
I think so.
Yeah, you are.
I mean, it's terrible. I mean, the only player I've ever actually been angry at is Tonki and Ndombele. That's another story. Yeah, I just think Basuma's kind of inconsistent, and I don't think he's a six. I think he's more of a box-to-box player. So that's not helping him. Bentancur, I feel, is much the same sort of situation. I think he's not being helped by the structure around him, and I think he's kind of uncomfortable in what he's being asked to do, which is making him look like a weaker player than he actually probably is. That, and he's had a long-term injury. Then he had suspensions because of a stupid post he made, and something that happened on international duty. Like, there's just been a lot of things, and maybe he just needs a consistent run of games to maybe get back to himself. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not convinced by Basile or Bentancur at the moment, but that is partially because guys like Berg run superb for us lately, and they've raised our expectations a little bit, I think.
Well, the rumours are they're offering Bentancur a new contract. I'm pleased about that because I'm a fan of the player. I think I've seen him play very well. He's very good in at 6-role weight at Brentford. There was another game he played close to it, and then recently he seems to have dropped off. And I don't know if that's because the players around him have dropped off. It's very hard to judge when we've been a collective shambles or just so inconsistent.
Yeah.
Midfield, and then when you bring in players back, even players back from injury, right? You can say, yeah, the players are back. But we all know sometimes for some of them, they might be fortunate enough to hit the ground running, but that rarely happens, So it's just we're still riding it. Although it's good to see that VDV and Romero look to have gained their sharpness, and I think Ange will definitely keep them for Europa League. So let's move on to these three. What's your take on Tell so far?
I think he's looked okay. There's definitely a very talented football player there, right? But I've not been super impressed by him so far. I mean, he's 19 and he's moved from Germany to England, and he's playing for a team that isn't very good at the moment. So he can't really glean a lot from his performances, but definitely a talented player, right? He will be a top player in a few years' time. And yeah, it's kind of too soon. I haven't seen enough of him, and yeah, it's hard to say. The one interesting thing about him, though, is he's bought a car registered in the UK. He hasn't had his old car brought over. He's bought a brand new, I think, Mercedes in the UK, which is interesting. So.
Yeah, he's highly rated at the training ground. I haven't seen enough. Well, it's too small a sample to judge him. Did score a nice goal away at Villa in the cup with the outside of the foot from the jacket cross. That was a nice outside the foot shot in the corner. So his technique is there. His stats as a young player are mental. We've seen that with young players before. Some kick on, some don't. But we are not buying him on what we've seen so far. We're not paying £50-odd million when we can spend it elsewhere on a player on what we've seen so far. He's got to step up and show a lot more.
I mean, yeah, I think that's true as well. The other thing, actually, with Tell is because he's coming from Bayern, I don't know how much money Bayern still owe us for Harry Kane, but a deal with Bayern might be, okay, so we'll write off what you owe this and then give us Tell. It might be more of a case like that.
Yeah, and I don't believe the figures, 60 million. I don't believe that. We might have loaned him for 5. I could believe that, but we ain't paying 60 mil total for him. That's not happening. Not at his age.
No. I think. Well, I mean, we paid 40 for Archie Gray.
Yeah, and actually 35 with add-ons and all that. And I think that this deal would be roughly the same in my opinion, but I could be totally wrong on it. I think 40 mil max for a 19-year-old. For a 19, when you could go, you could go and get oven-ready player, couldn't you?
Yeah.
This is a difference. You can go and pick up Vlahovic now. That they only want 25, 30 mil for him because he's coming down to they don't want to lose him, let him run down his contract. So Juventus, because they've got Moani, I mean, so to me, if you ask me tomorrow, Vlahovic or Tell, I'm taking Vlahovic, right? I am, like straight away. They give about 62 million for him from Atalanta or whatever. Was it Fiorentina or Atalanta he came from? One of them.
He came from Juventus, didn't he? No, he came from Fiorentina. Yeah. He plays at Juventus now.
Yeah.
What's your take on Tell so far, Charlie?
Well, his first game he played amazing. Against who was that again? His first game it was against. Can't remember. He had a good first game, and since then he's been dropping off. But I don't think he deserves to have any slack right now because our attack isn't very inventive. We're not really doing anything in the attack, and it feels like nothing's really coming to it. You know what I mean? Nothing's really. There's no livelihood. It feels like every ball that goes past the 50-yard line or 60-yard line, nothing's happening with it. I feel like we're just playing back.
Did a good run. Did a good run in the game against but
It's bloody
that
fast.
game against Villa, yeah, through the middle. I mean, the ball wouldn't stick to him. I mean, you need a lot more experience to play in that number 9 role. You know,
I don't think he's a 9. I think he's more of a.
kicked.
I think he's more of a left winger. I think he should play more of a left winger.
He can play on both wings.
Yeah, but I think we should get rid of him though. I think if he doesn't show anything in the next 11 games, or 9 games, or no, 11 games with the Europa
10 league games, and we know we've got 2 Europa League games.
Yeah, 2 Europa
League games. So we've got 12 games left, right? So
if he doesn't show anything now, I think he's done. I don't think he deserves to be here.
I mean, and if we do then get him, then it's usually because what we don't know, what's been seen on the training ground, is really impressed others, you know. So Bentancur might get a So Solanke, I can give you his stats because you know me and my stats. I always like to come to show his stats, right? Here it is. He's got 11 goals and 8 assists for his first season at a club playing a different system. What's your take on Solanke then? Stay with you, Charlie.
Well, I think Solanke has been all right. He hasn't scored a lot of goals and isn't really inventive or anything. He's good. He's good with pressure, like we saw against AZ. Was it AZ? Yeah, it was AZ where he just threw up the pressure. No, it wasn't. It was Son. What I'm talking about. But his pressure in like basically in games is good, but he doesn't feel like he really is a striker. You know what I mean? He doesn't finish every ball. His head is always a bit wide. His shots go wide. It doesn't feel like if he's on the ball, he doesn't have an aura or something around him that says he's gonna do something dangerous or he's gonna show. You know what I mean? He's not. Yeah. It's not really. Yeah, I'm not too fond of him. I think he should have been playing better. I expected more of him this season.
James, he's a workhorse like Kulu, isn't he?
He reminds me of a bit of Roberto Firmino, in a little bit. Works really hard, lots of pressure, gives us that physical presence as a striker, and just like the little things, like holding up the ball, you know, laying it off, small things like that. He does so much better than Richarlison. So much better than Richarlison. It's night and day. Okay, he's not. I don't think he's ever going to be a score 30 goals a season player. And I think part of the issue is no matter what striker we get, in our heads we're going to mentally compare them to Harry Kane, and no one's close to Harry Kane. So they're always going to look weaker than Kane because we've been blessed with the best striker in the world for a decade.
By the way, Adrian, I think we should go to the chat.
I think he's good.
Yeah, I will. I will go to the chat.
Yeah, but I know what you mean, James. But I really want a striker that can score some goals because we need someone that is clinical enough to get us to get us to 20 goals a season. We need someone that scores 20 goals a season because otherwise there's games that is very cagey and we just can't play our football. It seems like we're just not going to get anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we need changes. We don't really have any, and I think the biggest issue this season compared to last season is Son has declined a lot. So I think we've lost that severe goal presence Son typically offered.
Yeah. Big up Bobby K. I'll be in touch. We'll have to get you on the show, mate, when you're available. He's in Canada.
Oh, nice.
Graham again. Bobby in Canada. Yeah, he did, Daniel. He played very well. He's another one that doesn't look sexy, but he's as brave as hell, and he's box to box, and technically he's decent. But when you get them sort of players like holding midfield box, some of them don't look sexy, and fans always want someone like who's obviously good rather than like an unsung hero type. Big up, Graham. Yeah, Daniel's saying. Oh, Samuel Moore. Yeah, I know he's been on fire for Porto. No one's disagreeing with the record, Daniel. It's not good enough. Paul G, friend of the show. Yvonne Toon, hi Yvonne, big up. Good to see you in the show, friend of the show. It was Renge, yeah, we had that discussion earlier. Yeah. No, your doggy will get his mojo back. I'm confident of that. He's a tank. Yeah. Yes, Daniel, we knew. I think actually we should move on to Ben Davies. He's not an upgrade. Doesn't take us forward. It would just be like a temporary option. Yeah, or give him a coaching role. Fine. I know there's others that want to get rid of the pair of them. That may happen. No, I don't think. Well, the club want to give Bentancur a new contract, so I don't think he'll be going. I think Basuma. Guys, while I'm going through the chat, do you think Basuma was off the pace because he votes at Fulham because he knows he's going? Do you think he knows he's going? Yes, no?
Don't know.
All right, fair enough.
It's a good shout, but I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I think he won't. He won't go this summer. If we don't get any bids for him, well, that's logical actually. What am I talking about? I reckon we won't get any bids for him.
I think even at his age, you still get an offer of 15 mil, and I'll take it. If it was me, but I think Palace want him. Crystal Palace. Telly's rubbish. Early call, not a big enough sample, Daniel, if we're being fair on the player.
Taylor's not a good player.
I think he's technically good. People I know that watch Bayern have said
he's 19. You got to give him a bit of time.
Yeah.
Facts. Would you say Tottenham missing player? Yeah, we are. But like we said, number 6, we're missing a number 9. We're missing
a left back.
I think a left back. We're missing everything really.
Yeah,
missing a lot.
Yeah, minimum 4.
But none of it's like impossible to bring in. Like I don't think.
The point is, with the squad and everyone fit and playing well, and look at the opposition that's in the Premier League now and teams that have kicked on a bit, like Newcastle, Villa, others. The way you have to look at it is, do you think as a minimum requirement, we've got a squad that's capable of reaching top 4? At the moment, I'd say no. What do you two think?
I mean, I don't think Newcastle have a better set of players on paper than we do necessarily. I think they have players who fit the system quite well, and I think Eddie Howe has obviously got a tune out with them in their specific kind of play style. But I don't think they're player for player better than us by a lot. And then you look at like Forest. Do they have a better set of players than us? Do they have a better squad than us? Probably not. They're just really good at one specific system. And I mean, Nuno's got them playing a certain way, and teams struggle with it. The squad does need a lot of work, yes, but I think at some point you just have to say we're tactically outclassed a lot of the time, and because of that, players are uncomfortable and struggling.
Yeah, good point. Let's talk about Johnson, Charlie. 14 goals and 3 assists this season in all competitions. Yeah,
I really think he is actually playing well, and I think he's getting a lot of stick for stuff he doesn't deserve. Because if you look at this season and last season, he does have this. He is consistent, and every season he keeps getting the goals. He keeps getting the goal involvement. He always does the thing that he goes to the side of, and then he does the cross over to the middle. It usually works, and I'm actually really I'm not too disappointed about him. I actually really like Johnson, and I've said that since day one because it feels that he's not really creative, but he does do the thing he does do right once every 3 times, and when he does it right, it usually turns out to be a goal. So I'm very happy with Johnson. I think he deserves to stay 100%.
Are you part of the Johnson Defence League, James?
Well, I get to watch him at the weekend, so that'll be fun. And by the way, I was just looking at the Welsh group. We play Kazakhstan, so that'll be a real test of Brennan Johnson's footballing capability. He scores, but he doesn't seem to do much else. I think the other issue is he's not a winger. He is not a wide player. He never plays there for Wales, which is where I've seen him put in his best performance. And I just kind of think that, yeah, I mean, he scores goals. That's what he has to do. He wants him to run to the far post and tap stuff in, and he does that very well. I mean, Raheem Sterling did that for years at City.
I mean, what do you think? What do you guys think? And you,
I don't know.
Because when I go to games at the stadium, I see Johnson tight on one touchline and Sonny tight on the other. That has to be tactical. They're told to stay there, and I wonder. But then
he's
you've
telling
got
the fullbacks
if your team's really struggling, you use your brain, you ignore the tactics, you get back and you try and help out. But they're definitely told to stay out there because I've seen it too often. It's definitely a tactic. And of course, when things don't go well, then you're going, oh, what's Johnson done? Nothing. But if he's told to stay out there, he's not doing anything wrong. One thing about Ange, though, when he got his debut, that was a bold call to give him his debut away to Arsenal when we drew 2-2. To bring a young player in who was like 20 then and give him his debut away to Arsenal. I mean, that's... Mind you, Ange does surprise us with his team selections at times.
Yeah, but I think he did get injured in that game, didn't he, as well? Yeah. Goodness me. But I'm horrible. No, he actually played a great game. 2-2, wasn't it? But I
remember watching that game with my, at the time, housemate, who was an Arsenal fan. So that was interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I definitely, tactically, they stay very wide to the touchline. Neither Son or Johnson are really, wide players. So they're in a position where they're uncomfortable with their position. Whether or not he doesn't track lazy, I don't think that's true. I think it must be tactical. It is bizarre, and I think a lot of our issues this season do just come down to bizarre tactical choices.
Yeah. Right, these were the subs against Fulham. 45 minutes, Bergvall for Basuma. No one would complain about that. And Son for Johnson. Right. 68 minutes, Maddison for Romero. You might consider that a bit strange. Then 77 Odebert for Tull. And then 86 minutes, Scarlett for Bentancur. Odebert gave the ball away which led to their goal. Right. So, but again, young players will make mistakes. And it's just like it cost us. And funnily enough, in the second half, we were playing better. It wasn't actually. I mean, I know after we lose a game, fans go, we were crap, we were rubbish and all that. Actually, the first half was crap from both sides. But the second half, we were all right. I mean, we were all right second half. It's just like, we then again, self-inflicted mistakes that concede to a goal. And then people saying, if Romero weren't off, right, we wouldn't have conceded. Yeah, but we don't know the situation behind Romero. If Angie's looking after him, fair enough. I'll go with it. I mean, if fully fit and Romero firing on 8 cylinders, he stays on the pitch. And there's been times when Romero didn't want to come off. When he did the tendon on his big toe, there's times he wanted to stay on for the team. So... let's go for a few stats. Their possession, they had 57% to our 43. Shots on target, blocked 6 for them, 4 for us. And we're 4-4 each on target. Duels 1, they won 50 to our 47. Fouls, spelled that wrong. 13 to 10. Corners, they had 6, we had 5. Clearances, they had 18. We had 32, which shows we've obviously... This is over the whole game, though. Interceptions, 10 each. Passes, they had 528 of 411. Pass accuracy is pretty even. Crosses. Fine margins in games, guys, isn't it? It's fine margins, I mean... Okay, we'll put Fulham behind us, and I'll come to you, Charlie, because I know you've got to go early. We've still got a lack of squad quality depth to compete on 4 fronts. It might be 3 next season.
Yeah. Sorry, could you reiterate the question? I have no clue. What do you mean right now? So we lack quality in a load of players.
Yeah,
Do you mean that,
I'm suggesting here that there's a lack of experienced squad quality, not enough oven-ready players in the squad to compete on four fronts, and you need that experience even in games like say to dig you out. Even a Højbjerg would have helped us out this season. He wouldn't be the solution, but he would have helped us.
Yeah, I think
Would
we've
have helped
got
us
rid of a
stay
lot
out
of players. We got rid of a lot of players that we should have kept, especially because we didn't get any replacements for, like Højbjerg. Can't name we had a couple of players that were blocking our team, like Højbjerg was. He played decent. He wasn't great, but we didn't get anyone to replace him. You know what I mean?
No.
So I think we got rid of a lot of depth by selling a lot of players that Ange didn't want to use anymore by being very stubborn. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I know exactly what you mean. And in the summer, we only bought in one oven-ready player, which was Slanky. All right, we got Graham Bergvall in. They would have probably been drip-fed into the squad if we'd had more quality depth. They wouldn't have had as much game time. So for all this injury crisis we've had, that's been a plus. They've been able to get. They'll be far better for the experience next season. The pair of them, more confident,
and Jed has had the opportunity to break through
as well.
So like there are,
and Danso looks cheap by 20 odd mil. So to do a job.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Like I said it in the summer. I like all the transfers we did, but the squad is quite thin, and that didn't be correct around November, December, and that really hurt us and cost us, and we're still feeling it. But at least the youth have developed. Bergvall's a world beater, or will be. Spence, Gray, lots of young talent had a good chance to develop. Chat's going crazy about me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm noticing.
Right, let's have a look at this. Right. You can give a permanent player someone on a 6 o'clock line to you. We need basically enough and quickly. Fortnight, would you say that we're winning against Düsseldorf? We ain't playing Düsseldorf, we're playing Frankfurt. Right. So, no, James, he has knowledge of Spurs. I see you've changed
Fortnight noob.
So Fortnight noob is a flip flopper, right? Great name, this, isn't it? Folk off, rather than fuck off, right? You know what I mean? We're not Stuttgart. We're playing Frankfurt. Right, we deserved a draw against Fulham.
I beg to differ.
The goals were the difference, I suppose.
We second half, yes, maybe, but first half, totally.
Welcome, Magella Rutten.
Second half, yeah.
Welcome, Guy, whoever you are. Good to have you with us. I'm a Tottenham fan. You're a Bayern fan.
Riveting.
Bayern win for Kai.
What do you say?
You can say something while I'm going through this list, right?
Oh my god. Okay. Oh dear me.
Oh god. James, you read the message, didn't you?
Yeah. I read all of them. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Just to respond to some of these wonderful messages.
I'm not going to respond.
Guys.
Any ridiculous, anything with a sexual connotation, anything sexist or racist or anything like that, we won't respond to. Right? You won't get it brought up on here, right?
You can just mute them.
Yeah.
You can just mute them.
So, yeah, we need to do with bringing in a few experienced players. Right. Let's talk about players on international duty. We got Son and Minhyuk for Korea, Slanky England, Vicario and Udogi for Italy, Romero for Argentina, Porro for Spain, Johnson, Fulton Davis for Wales, Smart for Senegal, I think Basuma for one of them's Mali and one's Senegal or something. Bentancur for Uruguay, is it? And Bergvall for Sweden. At the youth level, Go on, James. You're going to say something on that list.
Just thinking out loud. So I doubt Solanke will get that many minutes for England. Son will play every minute. Davies and Johnson will play pretty much every minute as well.
Mm.
Bergvall probably will too.
Mm.
Wonder how much Bentancur will play. Yeah. It's just interesting because will it have an effect on how they play when they come back to Spurs? How well they do on international duty?
Yeah, I'll come to that on international duty, because all these players, our players, all those are on duty will be back, and there'll be a week. They'll have a free week, the coaches will, to work with the players before we play Chelsea. So they will be rested. So it's not a question of coming back from long flights from far distant exotic lands, right? These are the youth international call-ups. Archie Gray for the under-21s, Matthias Tony under-21s, Wilson under-21s. Scarlett for the under-20s. Now, I think he's 20 now. Could be mistaken. Mikey Moore, everyone screaming, the under-19s. Donnelly, who's on loan at Orient, 30 appearances made there. He's got 6 goals and 5. I like this player. He's got 6 goals and 5 assists, and he's chosen to play for Northern Ireland. Don't blame him. There's a lot of competition for the 10s in England, right? And Maguire, the goalkeeper that's taken over from Gunter, who's on loan at Wealdstone, he's playing for Era Ireland, right? Right.
Must be
rehab. We have 4 in rehab at Oxford Way: Richarlison, Kulusevski, Kevin Danson, Rado Dragerson. The first 3, Richie, Decky, and Kevin Danso, should be back prior to the Chelsea game. Dragerson, no, his knee ligaments he did, didn't he? So look at this at the training ground. There'll be 4 goalkeepers: Spence, Madison, Werner, and Reguilon, who will be going in the end of the season. And then you've got to have these guys. They've got to be blending academy players with these, otherwise it's pointless even training.
Yeah.
It
must be quite difficult when you have when you have so many goalkeepers in training and not that many outfield players. Like, the goalkeeper coach must be overwhelmed.
Rob Birch is the goalkeeping coach. Players return a week before the Chelsea away. Now I'm just wondering, and these are the games to talk to you guys about. So the international break, we know. Then we got Thursday, April, because that game date was changed to Thursday, April. We've got Chelsea away. Then we got Southampton and then we got Frankfurt. So, question for you: do you think Andrew's going to rotate, pick the team against Southampton he's going to play against Frankfurt at home, and we never get nothing at Chelsea anyway? Or do you think he'll go as strong as he can against Chelsea? Bearing in mind he might be able to, because if Richie and Kulu and Danso are back, that would have given a bit more beef against Fulham. I'm sure it would have.
Yeah, I think he'll probably go strongest against Chelsea. He'll rotate for Southampton because, let's be honest, Southampton are dreadful. We could put our under-18s out and they'd probably win. So, although when we played them earlier,
because James, you cut off in a minute. I want to play the same team as against Southampton as against Frankfurt, because if we switch up again, it's going to seem like it's going to be the most unorganized piece of.
Yeah.
I'll do that after the stream, Daniel. I'll make you a mod, mate. Okay. I need your Earl. You've got to send me your Earl though, because I need your YouTube Earl to make you a mod. Because I can't go through the chat, talk to these guys, answer the chat and all that, and do that at the same time. Yeah.
What was I going to say? I don't know when I cut off, but Southampton are terrible. I'm annoyed we didn't beat them 10-0.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want the team relatively rested for the Frankfurt game. Because I have no confidence that we will go to Frankfurt and not at least lane 2. So I think we need like a 3-1, 4-1 sort of win at home for me to be confident away.
Yeah. So we're agreed on that then. Okay. Well, have you got any questions in the chat for the panel? get them in there if you want. I'm just going to look for. I want to give you. This is how we've been going this season. Believe it or not, I think we're the second highest goal scorers in the Premier League. I mean, it's unbelievable. You couldn't make it up, could you? Sonny's coming for a lot of stick. Look, he's got 11 goals and 11 assists in all competitions. Solanke, 11 goals, 8 assists. Johnson, 14 goals, 3 assists. Kulu, 10 goals and 10 assists. I think he's been our player of the season. But fans will probably give it a VDV, though, because he's the fastest runner. I mean, last year, they gave it to VDV, or it's between VDV and Romero, right? Both of them had periods out injured. Vicario played every game and should have got it because he saved us so many points last season, and yet he didn't get it. So you know it's always going to be a popular vote rather than a correct vote.
Yeah.
I mean, Madison's took stick. He's got 11 goals and 9 assists. Scarlett, 1 goal and 1 assist. He got the goal against Elfsberg, didn't he? Yeah.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised Jed Spence hasn't got more goal contributions.
I'll come to the second list because I can't. You're only allowed 200 letters. The second list: Bergvall, 1 goal, 3 assists. Deadspitz, 2 goals, 2 assists. Biss, 2 goals. Bentoncourt, 2 goals, 1 assist. Sarr, 6 goals, 2 assists. I like Sarr. People say he runs about, don't do nothing. There's a lot more to this kid. He put that through ball for Sonny against West Ham just in the half when Sonny ran on and scored. He scored that lovely goal on the edge of the box, curler against Man City. Moore, 2 goals, 4 assists. I think one of them goals was pre-season. He got a goal against Elfsberg, didn't he? VDV, 2 assists. Cootie, 1 assist. Venom got 1 assist. The long ball out. Remember the long ball kick? Odeberg, 2 assists. Lone Watch. Keeley and Donnelly are at Orient. And they're smashing it there, the pair of them. It didn't start too well for them. Vuskovic and Divine at Westerloo. Well, Charlie's obviously up to speed with Vuskovic. Divine's a player I've liked. He lost a year of his development at, what's his name? Phillips at Stoke. They're in relegation trouble. Abbott's smashing it at Notts County. Dorrance at Aberdeen. Not sure he's getting game time. Velez at Espanyol. Need to be loaned out or sold, in my opinion. Gill at Girona. He's just got injured, Gill. Looks like he's out for the season. Solomon smashing it at Leeds. Min Hughes.
Talking about Gill should go now. Gill's had its time. I mean, we've literally been holding on to him since 2020. I mean, he's doing nothing. You know what I mean?
He does look like Johan Cruyff.
Sorry. I just read something in the chat. Oh my god.
Yeah, I've had to stop looking at it because
I won't put comments up if they're not suitable.
Someone has screenshotted a photo of me and made that their profile picture, which is that's fun. Wonderful. Cheers.
Charlie looks like my left ball. Goodness me.
So
God.
Min Hughes actually getting good reports at QPR. Gunter's first game from the under-20s goalkeeper at Wealdstone, he let in 4. I'm not sure how it's going there, but they're out there for a reason to gain experience.
Yeah.
Lone Watch.
On Solomon, actually, do you think he'll come back to the club? Because obviously part of the reason he's not with us is, I mean, you could argue political. So I wonder how that ends up playing out if he stays at Leeds, because Leeds are going to probably be promoted this season. So do you think he stays with Leeds? Do you think we sell him to Leeds? Or I don't know.
It's either or, isn't it? I mean, when he was at Shakhtar Donetsk, he kept Mudryk out of the side, and they sold Mudryk to Chelsea for 95 or 105 million or something ridiculous.
That's stupid,
right?
Yeah.
And but he come to us. Now we're allowed to release their players because UEFA turned around and said, well, you can release your players because your country's at war. So he ended up at Fulham. Then that run down. We picked him up for nothing. So if we sell him, we make a profit. We do get at least 15 mil for him. Right?
Oh, sure.
And but I don't know if they'd take him back and have a look at him pre-season. I don't know. I don't know. The times we watched him play, he had a couple of cameo roles, 10-minute spins. He played on the right, tricky winger, dribbler, and all that. And his best game, what he played, when we played away at Burnley and won 5-2, and he gave 2 assists for Son when Son got the hat-trick when we won 5-2 a game. You remember that game? And I thought, hang about, he's not a winger, he's just head down. He looks up, he can provide assists. I thought, So it got my attention. I don't know. We got so many wingers,
Yeah, so many mediocre ones.
Yeah. So that's the lone roundup. Yellow cards. Well, this is League Bergvall, right? He's got 8 yellow cards, not 4, because he's got 4 in other competitions. He does put his foot in, Charlie, doesn't he? One he should have been sent off for when he was late. Was it against Liverpool? I think it was. Yeah. Bentancur's got 8. The only reason I've multiplied is up to 8. If you get 10 yellow cards before the 32nd game of the season, because it's 5 before the first half of the season, first 19, you get a 1-match ban. But if you get 10 yellow cards before the 32nd game, you get a 2-match ban. So you just do the last games, right? So people know I like my facts. So Basuma's 6. He's another lot. And some of the yellow cards, but Basuma picks up. The dive against Luton when he got sent off. And he had 3 suspensions last season, Basuma, 3. And then away on international duty. Nah. Madison's 6. You wouldn't think he put it about. Sarr 5. Bergvall, you understand. VDV 4. Johnson. But the reason VDV and Romero don't pick up so many yellow cards, and he's not here, Romero, he might have one, or might be missing something, is because when you play a higher line and you've got pace, when you're playing a low block or a mid-low block, like under Conte, you're going to make a lot more tackles. You're going to miss time 1 or 2 and pick up a yellow card. But when you play a higher line, the centre-backs don't seem to pick up so many yellow cards, and I think that's why. It's because you're not playing a middle-low block. But that's just my theory on that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, so these are our fixtures. Right, now these could be possible outgoings. What do you think? Forster and Whiteman. Forster's homegrown, Whiteman's homegrown. I think Basuma, Werner, Richarlison, Gill, Velez on loan or you sell him. Davis contracts or you let him go. Romero new contract or you sell him. We in agreement here on these?
Yeah, I think it's also difficult because we don't know who the manager's going to be next season.
Exactly that.
So it's kind of hard to make any decision. And with Richarlison, who's going to pay the money Levy will want for him? He's going to want at least 25 million. I mean, maybe Everton, right? That's the only place I can really see him going. But yeah, he's going to be difficult to offload. Werner's going to go back to Leipzig. Yeah, I don't know who'd pay money for Basuma either, but I can see him going to a lower half Prem side.
Right, we'll finish with this and your comments on this, guys, because it is the international break. We ain't playing games. These are just, we've been linked today as well. Have I got? Yeah, I've got them. So, Ezan, Walton and Guay are at Palace. Fratese's at Milan. Gomez is on a free in the summer. Spurs are very interested. Diminutive midfielder. He's a very good footballer. Semenyo, we know, played so well against us. Joe Bellingham, I haven't really looked at him. He's at Sunderland getting good reports there. Dilat, people like Dilat, Kuna. Then you've got Cardoso.
You mean Cunha from Wolves?
Sorry?
Cunha from Wolves, right?
Yeah.
The Brazilian. Yeah,
he's in.
I really want him. He is now, but I'd love him. I'd love him.
Lookman, wasn't he at Leicester and Everton or somewhere before? Lookman's, it's the same guy. Right, Retu.
Yeah, Lookman played at Chelsea, I think, and then he went to he played at Atlanta. Scored the hat trick in the was it Europa League final? Or was it the Conference League?
Europa League.
Europa League. Yeah, Europa League final. Yeah, that was like he had a great season.
Retu, if you don't know him, he's a Romanian right back, 26 or 27, had a good Euros, getting good reports this season. I don't think we need a right back because I think Spencer's going to play on the right. I think we need a left back. Gittins, the outstanding winger in Germany. We ain't paying 80. The price. We ain't paying 80 million for Gittins, are we?
No. But guys, do you prefer Spence over Porro? Because I think I do right now.
Yes. Yeah. Porro can't defend.
Yeah.
I'd honestly give him a run of games at right wing.
You have to think about, do you think Porro is a net game for what he offers you attacking wise and goals and all that, which when we're playing well, he looked brilliant. Right, technically superb. but then for being caught upfield, he doesn't seem to have a great football IQ to know when to stick or twist, go forward or stay back.
I think it's fine.
Sorry?
I think it's fine if your left back sits back as well, or your six, or one of your midfielders sits back a bit more. But our left back doesn't sit back really, and our midfielders don't really sit back. So I think that's where the issue lies: is we've committed too many forwards.
And I think when Porro inverts, when he was playing with Decky on the right, they used to interchange and get overloads down on the right wing. It doesn't happen with Johnson. Johnson's isolated most of the time. Porro cuts in, wants to do his own thing. But on the left, Udogie doesn't really invert. It rarely inverts, right? And you've got the link up with Udogie, Maddison, Son, right? So on that left, which seems to give us more impetus down the left-hand side. Yeah. So Bellingham, Cardoso, we know. Go and look at him. Sesko again. We ain't paying that sort of money for Sesko. Not when you can get. Have I got Vlahovic? I haven't. But I mean, like we have been linked with it. Paz, Larsson. I think he was the one that scored the good goal in the Euros for Denmark or Sweden. Was it? I can't remember.
Do you know what's crazy about Sirikin? When he went to Sunderland, we had until like last season, I think, a buyback clause for 5 million. And I'm seeing reports of like 20 million or something for him, which is daft.
So Tyler Diblin, are we going to? If Southampton to get relegated, are we playing 30 million for a kid? My angst with this is because we need oven ready. And again, Harwood Bellis is a defender at Southampton. This kid, a Meridian, he's too young at 20 at Porto, banging him in, having a good season. He's 6'4", right? The next three are interesting because they're left footers. Kirkin was in our academy as a left footers at Sunderland. David Hanko, I like Hanko. What do you think of Hanko, Charlie? You're in that neck of woods. He's playing for Feyenoord.
I haven't really heard of Hanko. I'm not really into Dutch football. So.
All right. Left centre back can play left back, right?
Wait, you mean Hanko or Gertruda? Because Gertruda is actually, I want him.
Isn't he gone, Gertruda? Isn't he left?
I don't know where he's gone. I'll look it up right now because I remember a couple of seasons ago.
We were linked. And then you got Ait Nuri. He's the left back at Wolves. Ait Nuri.
Yeah, he still plays for. Oh, he's at. Sorry, 1 second. He plays for Leipzig.
Right, so they went then.
Yeah, he went. We should have got him.
And Ait Nuri is a left back at Wolves. Well, and there'll be more added to this list. I mean, it's a ridiculous list because especially when you consider some of the prices. I mean, like, I think we have no need to bring in any more kids.
What's up with the chat today?
25, 26, 25-year-old, give him a 6-year contract. It's like 31, isn't it? Or 26-year-old. We shouldn't be looking at 20-year-olds now.
I think maybe the issue is though. Let's say we don't win the Europa League. Okay. No European football, no European money. We're in the Europa League this season, but we won in Europe season before that. So we've had a few seasons of sort of diminished revenue from Europe. And also you could argue, well, we're going to play significantly fewer games, so we probably don't need to bring in as many players. But I would rather we go out and spend 70 million and solve an area on the pitch, one top player, than spend 30, 40 million on like 4 maybe players. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not in Daniel Levy's head.
Yeah. Yeah, I can skip most of the chat because when it's ridiculous, we're not. Evening, Ryan, Wolves fan. Well, what's your left back like? Ait Nuri. What's he like, Nuri? What's he like, Ryan? Yeah, don't worry. It's just doing some bands, guys. Bear with me.
Nice.
Yeah, he got a bit out of hand.
Yeah, I don't know why some guys decided he wants my face as his profile, but that's cool.
I think I think we're being raided or something. You know what I mean? You know what raided is?
Yeah, that's all right. I'm not bothered.
Well, I mean, it gets more traction.
Yeah, they won't affect us long term.
No, exactly. Still, getting raided usually gets you way more views and gets you a lot of I don't know what you call it. It gets you a lot of recognition. You know what I mean? It puts you onto the For You page, which I think has done this.
All interactions are positive.
Adrian, I think you should get that off of the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that, yeah.
We're not banned, that's why.
Yeah.
Okay, banned.
Mm.
We're not having racist remarks in here either. Very skillful. Ryan says, hang about 8 knew the left back. Get back up. Personally, I've seen him more as a winger. Interesting. I haven't seen a lot of them, obviously. Is that everyone? Have I banned everyone I should have? Yeah, I think so. Oh, Rinketic's in here. Hi, Rinketic, if you're still here. Yeah, I think that's got them banned. Well, you see, because we're growing, there's no doubt. Well, you don't know if they're just idiots or others are just jealous of our progress.
You just get some idiots. It happens.
Yeah, so, guys, we've been going for an hour and a half. I mean, probably a bit longer than we should have because there isn't too much to talk about. On Friday's show, we will be taking a Q&A, doing a fans forum in the chat. We'll also have, I think, we might have the Irish Hotspur and either Jack or David will be on. We'll do it. We'll have sort of an open forum and discuss everything. It'll be pretty chill. Spurs news, anything in the chat, transfers and stuff like that. What's come up recently? Yeah, but I don't expect any of these rumours to gain gravitas because we've still got 12 games to go, haven't we? We've got a minimum of 10 league games, and then there's we hope, more than 2 Europa League games. I had a tenner on us to win, 9-2 to win Europa League. So I'm still living the dream. Right, so let's remove you. Take here a second. I know Charlie's got a test.
Yeah, I've got a Dutch test tomorrow, which is basically reading, but still good.
Fun. Oh, I have uni early in the morning. Be fun.
Well, it's basically like having an English reading test.
Yeah.
Right, we've got 74 viewers at the moment, which is excellent. If you like our content, please give the videos a thumbs up, leave a comment and subscribe to the channel. I want to thank all you viewers. I want to thank everyone in the chat channel that knows how to behave themselves and that can act mature and sensible. I want to thank my 2 young guests, Charlie and James, friends of the show. They will be invited back. Once you're invited here once, there's no escape. Right? So, yeah. And with that...
Contract for life.
Yeah, contract for life. I'm going to play you out with this.